Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, what's next for Bitcoin? What about this crypto rally, huh? Will it continue? Will both continue upwards? Well, let's discuss what happened this afternoon, what happened tonight, and determine what's next. So, smash up the like, subscribe to the channel, make sure you follow me on social media, and check out all the latest news, article, and guides at CryptosRUs.com. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hopefully you guys are doing okay. All right, there we go. All right, I got it fixed. So, who bought Bitcoin? Who did this? It's a mystery, but I'll give you one guess. Could it be Putin himself? Well, someone bought an enormous amount of Bitcoin all of a sudden to cause this to happen, right? But there's been a lot of buying going on. They're buying over here, buying over here. I mean, it takes a tremendous amount of buying to be pumping up Bitcoin like this. So someone has been buying, that's for sure. So we are sitting right above 43,000. We got as high as 44,000. So now you can see we're going flat. We've broken above this 42.7 mark. So that is absolutely fantastic. And I have to zoom out a little bit. You can see that, yeah, we're now holding above. And if we could continue to move forward, right, next stop, we're going to be around the 46, 47,000 mark. Then after that, we'll be in the 50s. Okay, so can we see 50,000 by the end of this week? Well, the way things are moving, that's certainly a possibility, right? So we're definitely having a good rally today. And if you look at overall crypto, the crypto market cap, we're at 1.99 trillion. Just this morning, I said, hey, we need to get above 2 trillion, right? It's a good psychological level we need to get above. And we're like right there, right? Up 10% in total today. That is, did I say trillion or did I say billion? I meant trillion if I said billion, but we're right there. So things are looking pretty darn good. Bitcoin up almost 15% today alone, although Ethereum is lagging. Ethereum only up 12%. So Bitcoin dominance has been going up today, if you haven't noticed. But we still have terrific winners all around. Terra up 22%, Solana about 12%, Cardano about 12%, Avalanche 18%, and then you have Polkadot 8, and you go on and on and on, right? So there's a lot of good movers today, although Bitcoin is definitely leading the way. So what happened today? Well, I've been talking a lot about, of course, what's going on with Russia, but it does seem like Putin's not ready to back off just yet. So satellite images show 40 miles of tanks and trucks, military convoy that is heading to Kyiv right now. 40 miles of badness, let's just put it that way, right? So is Putin giving up? No, it does not seem like he's giving up. All right, so that is the latest story. Of course, today, ceasefire talks began between Ukraine and Russia, but the sanctions are piling on, and they're definitely having an effect. There's an economic meltdown right now that's going on in Russia, and I'll get to more of that in a little bit, but it does seem like Putin's not backing down. But what's good is, here comes Elon to the rescue. So you could see that this top general from Ukraine recently tweeted out to Elon asking for Starlink to be activated in Ukraine, and now they just received a truckload of satellites. So now the Ukrainians can utilize Starlink for internet access pretty much everywhere, right? Very useful, free of charge, right? So Elon Musk to the rescue. So that's very positive, and he did that really, really quick. This was just like a day ago or 2 days ago. So you got all the satellites there in like 2 days and activated Starlink in the country. Pretty fantastic. Pretty fantastic. Now, Jim Cramer. Let's talk about Jim Cramer. What does he have to do with Russia? Well, basically, if you follow Jim Cramer and you do exactly the opposite of what he says, well, you're probably then doing pretty good. So Jim Cramer at the beginning of the invasion said, it's going to be over in 2 hours. Well, it's been more than 2 hours, right? Now he's saying that, well, this invasion is going to put more pressure on the Fed to raise interest rates. And this is the opposite of what everyone else is saying, because everyone else thinks the Fed will actually be less aggressive in terms of raising interest rates. So again, Jim Cramer's going against the grain here. Will he be right this time? I don't know, but this is definitely something that is coming. Tomorrow is the start of March. And for those of us in the U.S., we do have to worry about what Chair Powell is going to do. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. I just saw that headline. I couldn't help myself. But all the sanctions causing all the Russian billionaires to kind of panic right now. They are moving their yachts and making sure that their mega yachts and whatever assets on the mega yachts are not being frozen. So, I mean, take a look at this mega yacht right here. I mean, I can't even fathom how much money that costs or how many Bitcoins it takes to buy that. But yeah, even the billionaires, they're getting kind of afraid because there's sanctions everywhere, pretty much everywhere in the EU, in the US, Japan, Asia, wherever. They're all seizing assets and cutting off bank transfers and even restricting air travel. So that's all happening, right? So again, financial destruction or economic destruction is happening right now with Russia, even though Putin doesn't really care. He's continuing forward. But for everyone else in Russia, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, right? So yeah, before I get to that, I mean, why is it bad? Well, just think about it. The ruble crashed 30% in one day. In one single day. I mean, it has been going down over the last decade, right? But take a look at how far it dropped. So imagine if you're a citizen in Russia and, not only is inflation still happening, but you just lose 30% within a single day. That's not good, which is why there's a lot of people that are very, very fearful of what to do, right? The banks are being dried out right now. Although if you withdraw a ruble, I don't know what, it's not going to help the the valuation of the currency, right? But many people are scared taking it out, right? And that's exactly what's happening. But my theory is this, that many of them are turning to Bitcoin. It makes sense. How else are you going to get your money out, or how are you go, what are you going to do to protect yourself, right? What are you going to do to protect yourself from the negative 30% that just occurred? Well, you could put your money into something else, like the hardest asset on planet Earth, Bitcoin, right? Which is why it makes sense if you look at a number of Bitcoin addresses has been skyrocketing. In this case, though, this is for the big whales, over 1,000. And you could see how much it spiked. But in terms of smaller addresses, it's going up to, in fact, the number of addresses that's holding at least 0.1 Bitcoin is at an all-time high. So I'm sure a lot of Russian citizens have been buying Bitcoin. But at the beginning I said, these big jumps, right? If you zoom in, these big jumps for Bitcoin, some of it's probably due to short covering or short squeezes, but it still takes a tremendous amount of buying to get that rolling. So could it be due to some of these whales or Putin himself or the mega, billionaires from Russia that's trying to protect their wealth? Maybe, right? And of course, there are still a lot of people that are buying crypto and Bitcoin and donating it to Ukraine, right? For humanitarian reasons or for support of the military, whatever it may be. This is still going up by millions each and every day. So, of course, this is also having effect as well, right? So, overall, right now, Bitcoin is finally getting the spotlight it deserves, right? We've been talking about store value, a hedge against inflation, right? But also, it is proving itself right now, right? The need for a decentralized payment network and a decentralized store of value, right? So if you're in a situation like Russia, for example, and you can't get your money out, you can't transfer anywhere, you can't buy the USD, you can't do anything, what can you do? You could buy Bitcoin. The same thing with Ukraine, right? If you need to flee the country, there's 500,000 EU reported up to 500,000 of refugees that have now moved out of Ukraine, right? What they go do? Well, they could transfer their money into Bitcoin and take it with them and to make it very, very simple. And of course, you could do donations. There's a lot of stuff that you could do with Bitcoin. It is definitely getting the attention it deserves. And I think right now, that's the reason why Bitcoin continues to do well. And finally, coming out of its slump, and I've said it, it always does. You just have to be patient. It always does, right? And this could definitely continue. Like I said, if it keeps going, well, 46, 47, that's the next point. That's probably the next resistance Bitcoin is going to hit right around here, about 46. And if it could shatter through that, well, then 50,000 will be the next one. So we're not too far off from there. And once we surpass 50,000, well, then 60,000 is not very far either. So things are coming up really, really fast right now and can escalate, can increase, right? All right. Also this relates to Bitcoin, right? Institutions are buying a ton. According to this, this is from CoinShares. They measure institutional inflows and outflows, and they said that there was a ton that outflowed from Europe last week, but there's a lot of inflows within North America. So North Americans, specifically US, have been buying, right? And you could argue maybe institutions from Canada too have been buying, because we know Canada, we just went through this Emergency Act thing, right? Which is pretty bad too. And a lot of people were fearful about their accounts being locked down and so forth, right? So this could have, been part of that too. So anyways, a lot of people getting involved, a lot of people buying. So right now, looking good, looking really good. Now, besides Bitcoin, there's a few other coins I want to talk about, specifically Cosmos, because I do believe Cosmos is an L1 that's very, very undervalued, right? I've been talking a lot about Ethereum recently. I've talked about Terra, I talked about Cardano, I talked about Cosmos and Solana, right? And previously I've talked about Cosmos too, but there is a pretty significant update I want to share. And overall, I think they're still undervalued because they're sitting at number 20, right? I think they should be a lot higher than where they are. So what is this big update? Well, Cosmos have just introduced something called interchain accounts, which is actually something I've never heard of before with any other chain. And this is actually brilliant. The whole thing about Cosmos is it's a cosmos of chains, and all these chains could talk to each other through IBC, inter-blockchain communication, which is great for sharing liquidity and sharing data, but not for sharing accounts. However, that has been fixed. So now, utilizing IBC, chains, which include Cosmos itself, includes Terra, includes Kronos, includes Binance Smart Chain, and includes many other chains out there, they can now share other kinds of data, including Oracle fetches, governance, right? And even staking. So all this information can be controlled from one chain to another, which means that if you have, let's say, Osmosis DEX, pretty soon within that DEX, you could stake and vote and share data from Osmosis to all the other chains within Cosmos directly from one DEX. And that's really cool. That's really, really cool. So this is a big update actually for Cosmos, and I think many people have missed this, but part of the reason why I think Cosmos is so undervalued, because they have a lot of cool stuff like this that no one else has. So there's that. Also, Cosmos is launching, well, not them, but another project is launching EVMOS, which is an EVM compatible chain that's within Cosmos. And this is very popular. Right now, you see a lot of other projects come out with the EVM compatible chain, which means the Ethereum compatible, which of course is very important because the industry is led by EVM and Solidity, and you know what? It's a really good idea to come out with something that can draw those dApp makers in because of liquidity and because it makes things better and faster right now because Ethereum itself is so congested, right? So this is also coming. And this is compatible, keep in mind, because Cosmos is IBC. So this will be compatible. EVMOS will be compatible with all the other chains out there, which will be really terrific because those other chains can now utilize the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine from EVMOS to do more smart contract based things. I mean, the possibility is endless, right? This is why it's really cool. So anyways, this is also coming to Cosmos, and even Osmosis, I mentioned, one of the biggest DEXs on Cosmos. Also, they're introducing liquid staking now, which is great. Those of you guys that love DeFi, right? If you love DeFi, you love Osmosis basically because they provide farming, but then now they have liquid farming, which allows you to get a synthetic token of your LP token, which you then can use and stake in something else. So double benefit. That's pretty cool. You don't see a lot of DEXs out there that offer liquid staking. And also, if you wanted to stake, a lot of people ask me, well, how do I stake, right? Well, the Keplr wallet, which is the native browser wallet for Cosmos, well, you could stake everything within. You can see right on top. Staking Cosmos is about 16%. Staking Osmosis is about 77%. Right? Secret Network, 24%, and there's other things that you can stake directly within. So all you have to do is just go download a wallet. It's a browser-based wallet. Create a wallet, transfer your tokens in there, and then you'll be able to stake very easily from within the wallet. So that's how you do it. All right, so that's Cosmos. I did want to talk about Cosmos because pretty significant upgrades, and I do think they're undervalued. So definitely keep your eye on Cosmos, and I do think they're still a good buy even at this point. All right, what else is there? Oh yeah, they got added on FTX recently as well. If you utilize FTX. Now, the last two things, just to please you AMC fans and meme coin fans. AMC's CEO did announce that SHIB and Doge will be opened up. At least, yeah, payment options will be opened up so that you can utilize SHIB and Doge pretty soon at an AMC theater near you. So that's fantastic. And in case you wanted to earn some rewards with SHIB and other tokens that's within SHIB, you can. Within Shiba Swap, there's all these pools that you can stake and get pretty good rewards too. And this is something that Doge doesn't offer. Doge doesn't have anything like this. It's still utilizing mining. And this is one of the big differences between SHIB and Doge. Just thought I'd throw that out there because there are staking options for SHIB in case you are a SHIB holder. All right, that's pretty much it. Overall today, right now, it's a pretty positive day. This morning started out good, but there was some concerns whether or not Bitcoin could hold the gains. But since then, it's been going up and up and up and up. So will this continue tomorrow? Heading into the 46s, the 50s, right? Could be right around the corner. All right, let's do some Q&A. Let's see. Lots of people are afraid to put their money in BTC because of volatility. Well, I mean, I don't disagree with that. But because of the volatility, that is the reason why Bitcoin has outperformed all other assets. Because it's fast moving, right? And yeah, short term, up and down. But long term, nothing is close in terms of returns. I mean, there's no asset that's anywhere close to Bitcoin's returns over the last, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? Nothing is close. But I agree. Short term, yes. But then, like I said, look at Russians right now. The stock market dropped 40% on Friday. It closed today because the central bank was so afraid that it would basically drop to zero almost. It will open tomorrow and we'll see what happens. But the circuit breakers will be on. But the ruble went down 30% in a single day. Right? Imagine tomorrow and later this week how much further it's going to go down. So if you think Bitcoin's volatile, there are definitely more volatile situations. And of course, countries that's facing hyperinflation too, like Venezuela and other countries, well, they need something that's less volatile. And Bitcoin is the answer. Hypnosis, you're welcome. Low to high. Bless you, George. I appreciate that. Why about Cardano? I think you mean what about Cardano? What about it? What about it? I don't even own Cosmos, and I think it's Sleeping Giant. I do think Cosmos is fantastic. I think very undervalued, and I do agree with you. I do think it's a sleeping giant. Cardano has a higher market cap than Solana right now. Yes, it has been up there for quite a while. So Terra is now above all of them, right below XRP. And then you got Solana and Cardano. Cardano flipped down below, but they're neck and neck right now. And then Avalanche, which has a while to go before it comes up to Cardano's level. But yeah, overall, we're getting pretty close to 2 trillion. What I miss? Anonymous, big super chat, but I'm not going to be looking at that token. Luna is doing crazy things these days. What caused it to rally? Well, because, mostly because UST. I've covered the news. There's a lot of adoption for UST. Just major adoption. Their anchor reserves was also replenished, so that, there was FUD around that. Also, there was previous FUD around Abracadabra and Wonderland and all this stuff that was happening with that. There was just a lot of FUD. It all cleared up. UST is doing fine. More is being minted. There's more use cases, and it keeps growing. And overall, like I've said before, the more UST that gets minted, the more Luna gets burned, and it's a really good relationship. Overall, that's what's driving it. Vartan is asking, are you getting a new Galaxy S22 Ultra? Not the Ultras. I think they're too big. Just the S22. Yeah, eventually. Do you think it's a good idea to DCA with Sandbox? Yeah, I think Metaverse plays are still good. Sandbox is not going to go anywhere. There's still a lot of projects that's getting involved with Metaverses and Sandbox. And it's the same with Decentraland. I think both are still worth DCAing into. With Terra Station Wallet, could you technically trade foreign fiat currencies with it? It let me buy Korean won and Japanese yen. I guess so. I've never tried those currencies before. I've always dealt with USD, but maybe. It makes sense, Korean won, right? Because it's a Korean project. Japanese yen, I don't know if they just added that, but I guess technically, yeah. Start DCing into Algorand. Its time will come. I agree. Algorand is a good project. Good project. They will continue to do well. So yeah. Do I have SHIB? No, I don't hold any SHIB right now. Is it time to get into high risk coins? No. And today kind of proves that because even though today is a good rally day, you can see Bitcoin rally more than most of the altcoins out there, right? And that's because there's still a lot of fear. There's still a lot of uncertainty. And let me make this clear that we're not out of the woodwork just yet. War is still ongoing. Putin is still invading, right? Anything can happen. The Fed meeting is still coming up, right? So it's not like everything cleared and we're just going to shoot up to 100,000, by next month. Maybe it could happen, but probably not probable. Yeah, I mean, in terms of getting the micro and small caps, they're not moving nearly as good as the big caps or Bitcoin, right? So it's not time to go all in with them. DCA into them is never a bad idea, though. Thoughts on going in heavy on major dips, knowing that higher lows are likely to come, estimate how long. You could. Of course, it depends on how big the dip is. But recently, when we fell down to like 34, 35, right, that was a pretty major dip from the top. Just like when Bitcoin fell down to 28,000 before. Some of these major dips, if you want to go heavy, sure. But I still recommend having cash on the side so it's not like you go all in. Because if things go lower, you can't continue to buy, right? You still want to have some cash on the side so that you can continue to DCA or buy. But going heavier on the dips is not a bad idea. Gene Vargas, I appreciate that. Let's see. Do I hold any SHIB or Doge? No, not right now. Too many technical issues with Solana. Will they fix it? I hope so. Just the other day, I was trying to transfer Solana from an exchange. And it took like 8 hours before it settled. And I asked the exchange, and they're like, it's not our end. It's something going on with Solana. I mean, Solana's network they keep getting attacked. It's not like the network is just failing for no reason, but they keep getting DDoSed, and it's overloading the network, and it's happening all the time. So that's kind of concerning. I don't know if they could fix it. I mean, fingers crossed, they should be able to, and hopefully they do it soon. But they do have a lot of network problems, especially recently. Do you think Beach and Shane will do well? Well balanced. I have no idea what you're talking about. What is a wrap coin? Yeah, don't like wrap Bitcoin. It's just a Bitcoin equivalency on Ethereum's network. So it's just the equivalency in a different chain. Just think about that. There's no point. I mean, unless like Luna, for example, on Coinbase, because they're all ERC20 stuff. You could buy wrap Luna, which does follow the price of Luna, but it's not real Luna. Just keep that in mind. Tough Cookie says, just got the strap-on NFT just in time. Thank you. I told you guys, while Polygon was low, it was a good time to pick up, right? It's still kind of low. Just saying. But the auction is still going to run on for a couple months, but almost half have been sold already. So if you haven't grabbed one, maybe you should. What do you think about Dusk? I'm not into privacy coins. I just think that they're not going to do well in the future because all the exchanges are getting pressured to delist them. So, I pray to God that LeBron, Westbrook are gone. No, just get rid of Westbrook. LeBron, don't get rid of LeBron, right? But I don't know what's going on with the Lakers. They're looking like an absolute joke at this point. AD keeps getting injured. Westbrook, I don't know what he's doing. Everyone else on the team, I don't know what they're doing. There's some young talent, but they're not being utilized. Bottom line is Frank Vogel needs to get fired. I mean, seriously, they need to replace Frank Vogel right away. When things are good, amateur coaches like Frank Vogel could shine, but right now you could see it's not shining. They need some veteran leadership. That's my opinion. So, um, Eduardo, I appreciate that. Privacy is definitely the future. It probably is, but governments don't like it, and they will force the exchanges to delist them, and that already started happening. In South Korea, there are no privacy coins listed on any exchanges. Same thing with Japan. In the United States, you don't see a lot of privacy coins on exchanges either. There's still a few, but more and more are being delisted. So, I mean, sure, if you want to use it, great. But as investment, I don't know. One Simmons. Yeah. They didn't hire Jason Kidd. I mean, he was assistant coach, but they didn't like him because he's too old school. Giannis said he hated Jason Kidd, so there's something to that. But anyways, they need some better leadership, that's for sure. Intel's coming out better mining ASICs soon. Higher hash rate, half the price. Nah, that's not true. The hash rate is actually lower. It's just more energy efficient. I don't think it's half the price, but it's good for Bitcoin. More competition, but it doesn't help Intel at all. Intel's dying. I don't know what's going on with Intel. AMD has surpassed Intel's market cap. NVIDIA's like 3 times the size of Intel. Intel is just like a dead dinosaur. They need to do something. And coming out of Bitcoin mining chips is not going to help their bottom line. So I don't know what Intel is doing. Performance fuel injection. Congratulations, man. Shack.sol. Oh, that reminds me, I forgot. Yeah, there's these Solana domain names. So I did see that FTX and FTX.us. Obviously, they've been donating to the cause. But I did see this. They actually have Ukraine.sol. So you can actually do donations directly to that address, right? Rather than like a long hexadigit, you could just remember that. So, yeah, just thought I'd throw that out there. I hope this does not cause the U.S. to overregulate. See, yeah, Tom, that's the only thing. First of all, there's a lot of theories about, hey, maybe Putin and Russia is going to embrace Bitcoin, right? I think they started stocking up, at least a lot of citizens. I'm sure Putin already has a lot, but they can't use it for bank transfers. And here's the reason. Because everything is transparent on the blockchain, right? Russia does not want to see their transactions of bank transfers on the blockchain for everyone to view, right? So because of that, I don't think that they're going to use Bitcoin's network to be replacing SWIFT, right? Now, they could be hoarding Bitcoin because of the things I've mentioned before, right? But as for using Bitcoin as a network to transfer wealth from one bank to another, I don't think that's going to happen. So, talk about VeChain. What is there to talk about? Just got to wait for them to come out with more DEXs. There's no TVL basically on VeChain, right? So there needs to be more DEXs to have value within them. The liquidity pools and farming, they need to open that up and really get into the B2C space. VeChain already dominates the B2B space, but they need to get into B2C space. Why did Avalanche go? Because they're just a good project. They're a really good project. They're one of the ones that I've been talking about for a while, and I've said that, yeah, I like him a lot. Avalanche, Solana, Cardano, Terra, I mean, these 4 are a powerhouse. Polkadot should be in there, but Polkadot is always lagging. They just don't have the momentum. But BNB, don't sleep on BNB either. Ethereum, Bitcoin, these are all solid holds. Solid holds. Advanced 3 months of DCA. Can I take profit for dry powder? Well, if you're up, sure. You can take profit anytime. Having dry powder or cash or stable coin on the side is important, right? Someone else recently commented, hey, why do I need cash on the side if I could just continue to hodl? Sure, you could do that. But if you want to continue to DCA, or you want to buy the dips when these opportunities present themselves, you have to have cash on the side to be able to buy in, right? So that's why, even though if you're just holding for life-changing wealth is fine, but it's still a good idea to have cash on the side so that you could take advantage. If you don't, that's okay. But if you don't, and you can take profits just a little bit, right, that would be smart too. Especially right now. There's still a lot of uncertainty coming up. Arnold argues that Vogel is actually a good, solid coach. He didn't do very well in Indiana either. They have a bad player mentality. Well, the coach needs to change that, right? But I guess it's hard to change all these veteran players that already, have their mindset. I guess it's, what they say. It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, right? So I guess it could be the same thing with all the players on the Lakers because they're all super old. And it's funny, when I say super old, they're all younger than me. But I mean, in relative terms, in terms of NBA players, they're very old. Domi Online looks promising. Played to earn MMORP. Never heard of them. No idea about market cap. Really new project. I'll look at them later. Salute Cadena's first IDO to be launched. 3-1. Thanks for a video where you first mentioned Cadena. Cadena also is doing very well right now. It's recovering quite well. So I'm glad to see that. Also, it's not one of the big L1s, but it could be. It could be. So, all right. I'm going to let you guys go. Let's see if I missed anything. Make sure I didn't. All right. So, overall, we're coming close to 2 trillion. That's fantastic. Bitcoin, a little bit below 43, but we'll take that. Big jumps today. Can it continue tomorrow? Sure. But we need to see what happens with Russia, with ceasefire talks, right? Whether this 40 miles of convoy will cause massive destruction, and what about Russia's own financial destruction right now, right? Is that going to sway Putin? Well, we'll have to find out. But right now, definitely good for crypto. So, pat yourself on the back. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, 8:15 Central Standard Time for my market open stream. All right? Take care, guys. Have a good one. And take care. Bye-bye.